Hello, my name is not Jess Pomfret. Yeah? Why have I got Jess Pomfret up here? I mean, she is absolutely amazing. Right? She is my buddy, and she is fantastically technical, and she knows so much, it's incredible. But the reason it's important for this particular session is because everything that I am going to show you was written by her. I have contributed absolutely zero to the content of this session. I promise you. Come in, put your hand up if you're next to a seat with a space. There we go. Come and find somewhere to sit. These people are friendly. They've got their hand up. Okay, so my name is Rob. I am lucky enough to be awarded an MVP because I like to talk too much and help get stuff done. I am one of the organizers for SQL Bits, so if you have a problem, then let me know. I will do what I can do to fix it. I also organize the PowerShell Conference Europe, which is in Prague in June. So I live in both the data world and the PowerShell, cloud, CI/CD, infrastructure as code, automation world. What do? I help people make stuff go, basically. When I'm not doing that, because my wife tells me that I shouldn't be looking at a screen all day long, I like to cycle. Quite often with my buddy. Right, there we go. There's my buddy. She's ace. Those are all the slides. So we're here to learn about Git. Okay? Everybody happy with what Git is? Some nods, some head shakes. Okay. So Git is source control for our code. So anything, oh, hang on a minute. Who writes code? Every single one of you. Who uses source control to save it? Not as many hands. Yeah? That's one you hear. That's cool. That's perfect. This is how we learn. So, Git is source control for our code. It is not GitHub. It is not GitLab. It is not any of the other source control providers. Git itself, a Git exe, is a really tiny thing. Now, the thing that we can do with Git is we can create ourselves a new directory. Let's call it Jess, because she's awesome, and it'll make her feel uncomfortable. You're welcome. Okay, so we've got a directory called Jess. And now what we're going to do is we are going to create a Git repository. So we're going to say Git. Now we're going to sound like a teenager. In it. Okay. Now I've got to have had installed the git.exe from the right place and done all of those things. There are prerequisites that need to have happened. But we have done that. We are now source controlling. That is really rubbish, isn't it? Jess, you didn't tell me it looked so rubbish. You're sacked. Let's do that. A bit better? Yeah, good. So we've initialized an empty Git repository in this place. So what does that mean? What has that given us? So let's do an Explorer. I'll open up an Explorer window. Oh, I didn't put the dot in, did I? What a fool. Let's do C/temp. That's Jess. There she is. Woohoo. So by doing that, I've got a .git folder, and in my .git folder, I've got a load of stuff. Right? This is what happens. This has been automatically created by me by typing git in it. This is what does all of the magic with our Git. This is where we do our branching and our merging and our ref logs and holding all of this commit messages and our stashes and our rebasing and all of that stuff. You're like, what is this? It's all controlled without this stuff in here. Don't mess with the stuff in here. Right? You will break everything. Don't mess with it. It's just so that you know. Quite often, the only place I'll ever look is this config file, sometimes just to see why it's not showing what's right. Other than that, I don't mess with that file. But if you see that this folder is getting real big, maybe you want to go and start and have a look at what's happening with your commits, and maybe you want to clear some stuff up. Sometimes that'll happen. So what happens when we're doing some Git? We could just, let's do new item. No, not a property, just an item. We'll call it, let's add a file. We'll call that Liz. Liz.json. Oh, hang on a minute. Liz is cold. Oh, who puts spaces in file paths? Liz is cold.json. So now we've added a file to our Git repository. Okay, so that's pretty neat. We've added a file, we've done some work, maybe we've added some configuration in, and now we can do git status. And it's going to say, oh, you're on branch master. I hate branch master. I will always say that we should use main, but for right now, out of the box, it just comes, it says master. It says no commits yet, because we haven't done anything. And then it says, we've got an untracked file. Oh my word, got an untracked file. Use git, oh, isn't that neat? Use git add file to include in what will be committed. Excellent. So we try that. So we'll do a git add. Even the AI says just do a dot. So git add dot says everything that I have changed, I would like you to stash it. It's done nothing. If we looked back in our Explorer window, nothing will have changed. We'll see nothing different. What we've done is we've said, this file is now ready. This is the file I want to associate with this message. It's now ready for this particular message. So we're going to give it a message. So git commit -m. It tells me the last time I added a bits buddy blast for Emma. Liz is cold because she always sits under the, ooh, typing's bad, under the aircon. Okay. So that's an extremely private joke between me and Liz, because it's just funny for us. Well, actually probably just for me, but that's fine. But it's an important thing. When you write your git commit message, do not write, I added the file liziscold.json. Don't even say, I updated the config in the file liziscold.json. Because that's what our diff tools are for. So our diff tool is very quickly going to show us what the difference is between two files. So we don't need to write it on here. What we should do, and I quite often say, try in the beginning to start to use the word because. Because it makes you think about what it is that we're doing. Now here, we don't have a real reason. We're just making stuff up. So we can do something silly. But in general, it's going to be because Claudio pointed out that we have an error with this thing. Because this particular incident number, request number or something says that now we've added a new client, or we're fixing this bug. Yeah? The reason for having this commit message is to associate the change that you have made with your record of what's been going on. So we've got our commit message here. So now we could do a git log. And the git log is going to say, what have we got? And it says this commit, blah, 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 which is our char. We call it a commit char, which is the thing that has been added to head on our master branch, so the top of our master branch. And it was written by me, and this is the email address. If you wish to get in touch with me, you can use that email address. That is the email address I've associated with my Git. This is the date and time that I did it, and this is the commit message that I still mistyped, even though I went back and checked. Claudio's now twitching, because he normally actually changes all of my things to make sure that I have stuff written properly, because he's very, very precise. DBA, that's how we should be. But this is how we can build up our history of what we've got. So if we did something else, if we went into, there's the bits buddy blast. That's okay. we'll open our file. Where is our file? C/temp/ nope, just Jess/Liz's code. Here we go, here's our file, and let's add some useful comment. Oops. Which way around do we want them? Do we want them that way around? Expected adjacent object, yeah, I know. You're going to have that. Oh, comments are not permitted. Yeah, well, tough. There we go. This is Visual Studio Code. That's also showing you how cool Visual Studio Code is. Visual Studio Code has opened a JSON file. It knows it's a JSON file. It said, hang on, you've got this thing that's wrong. It's given me a red squiggly line. And when I hover over the red squiggly line, it's then given me, well, this is what your problem is. Down here at the bottom, whenever you use Visual Studio Code, this is an underutilized thing. People do not use this enough. It works with PowerShell, it works with Terraform, it works with bicep, it works with SQL, it works with JSON. We've got this Problems tab. Problems tab says, my IntelliSense for this language has not worked properly. So before I make my commit message for the changes that I make, no matter what language I'm using, I would normally make sure that Problems tab says 0. Because this gives me a little tiny test that everything is okay. But we've added some code. And we'll do a save. If we come back to here and we do a git status, now it's telling me that I've got some changes that are not staged for commit. We can now add those changes. We know that we've modified the Liz's code. You can't really see it on there. It says it here. Yeah, I modified Liz's code.json. It is actually telling you what's going on as well. So we'll do up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, git, and we'll do up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, up arrow. We'll just change that. And Claudio always says put a full stop, so I'm going to put a full stop on that one. There we go. So now if we do our git log, now our git log has now got our record. Yeah? So we've got our git log, we've got our first commit, and then we've got our second commit. See, shaky heads. Some people are reading properly. Yeah, congratulations, you may have a prize. So we have our first commit, and then we have our second commit. This is our transaction log of the changes that we have made. Now, that is how simple it is to use Git. I've now got a record of what's going on. Even if I actually go and look into Visual Studio Code, it is going to tell me, if I turn on my Git toggle file blame, there we go. I've got some uncommitted changes. It hasn't caught up. It is going to tell me, oh, why have you not done that? Anyway, because I'm in somebody else, a different Git thing, it will come in and it will tell you what the commit message is for this line. Visual Studio Code will do that. We haven't used GitHub. We haven't used GitLab. We've got everything that's just local here. Was that a question, or was that just an itchy ear? It was an itchy ear. I'm sorry for embarrassing you. So that is how useful this code can be. Okay, so does this feature only work?
Feature where you see the code directly. It's only working in Git or also with source control tools?
So if you're in the question was, does this work with other source control providers? So all source control providers are making use of Git underneath the hood. So if you've got Azure repos, if you've got GitLab, if you've got GitHub, they're all using Git itself as your way of recording your source control changes. So the answer is yes. As sometimes, I think for GitLab, you have to put in a GitLab extension to enable it to run. When we did DBA tools in monthly lunches, Claudio's frowning at me now, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it just goes straight in. But any source control is going to work in here. You can, if you're using Azure repos, if you're using GitHub, you're going to be able to get these changes seen in the browser. Okay, I've got 4 minutes left. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some homework. Okay, if you want to learn about that, we're back to embarrassing Jess, but like I said, everything here is because of Jess. We will find in our repositories, if we look at repositories, thank you very much. Look at that, it's called Git demo for learning Git. And what we've got is some lessons. Okay, we've got some lessons and we've got some notebooks. So if you have Visual Studio Code and you install the .NET Interactive Notebooks extension, you can literally follow along with this code here, click, press play, and go. Or you can go into lessons, and I'm going to show you that. You start up here, lesson 1, and it's going to give you all of this information. Okay? It's going to tell you what these terms are. You're going to learn about new terms, and then it's going to show you how you can go to use this exact repository and how you can learn how to fork, how to merge, how to create PRs, how to do all that stuff completely safely, because all you're doing it on is some markdown files here. Okay? So feel free to go and make use of this as a learning thing for yourself to work out what to do. So, we've learned that we can make use of source control for ourselves, for our own code that we're using, without needing anything other than the git.exe installation. You type git in it, it's going to initialize a repository, and then by using the git add and the git commit commands, you're going to get a record of all of your changes and everything's safe. So you'll be able to see what's happening. Simply by doing that, it's going to give you additional functionality straight into Visual Studio Code and other editors to enable you to work out what has been changed and understand the reasons why. And then you have this github.com/jpomfret/git demo, or just search for the git demo. That's going to give you a whole set of lessons. Maybe what it would take, 50 minutes, 60 minutes? Jess is nodding ahead. So in a lunchtime, you can start to go and have a play with the Git demo repository on your own machine without causing any harm, and learn and explore how that all works. Okay. If you have any questions you wish to ask me, you can get in touch with me. Either just shout at me or say. If you're looking for J Pomfret, then you just search for J Pomfret. I mean, you can add in is awesome, you know, and still get to Jess. And thirdly, if you wish to learn more about Git, then Grant is talking about Git tomorrow at and please go and enjoy him there if you wish to learn some more, and you can heckle him as well. Tell him I said so. Okay? My name's Rob. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, enjoy the show.